This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Clear Lines training session. I'm your host, Kipp Cohen. It is Tuesday, the 10th of September, 2019. I am here for the next 60 minutes to review the Clear Lines indicator running on the Medved Trader platform. This session is geared for the subscribers of the Clear Lines indicator, or for those that have interest in learning more about how to use Clear Lines along with the Medved Trader platform. This session is recorded, will be posted to the YouTube page. I have trainings twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 o'clock Eastern. You're always welcome to join me. If you have specific questions, please submit them through the GoToMeeting player. You're also welcome to email or text me at the number that you see, the email address and the number that you see on the main page, kipp@equity-alerts.com or 972-841-8886. So today, I did want to focus on a specific topic, and that is how to use specific indicators to find potential profit targets. This is what we do in our daily webinar at equity-alerts.com. We use a combination of different technical indicators to help us to find where we may take profit. Well, we obviously use a combination of the clear lines and some other indicators to help us get into trades. We also use them to help us get out of trades as well. What you are currently looking at is one of my personal custom layouts. This is the popper dropper layout. Allows me to watch two different stocks at the same time on 3 different time frames, although you only see 2 for each one. The furthest left is the 1 minute, and then you've got, well, the left is the 1 minute, the right's the 3 minute. If you could see my other monitor, I also have a 5 minute. And it's more just to keep an eye on it. I don't really use it a lot. I focus on the 1 and the 3, and then I can switch between intervals pretty quickly by using these hotkeys that I've added to my quick access toolbar. I can flip between 1, 3, 5, and 15. This is the layout that I use throughout the trading day. With the exception, I have a different layout I use in the pre-market when I'm evaluating, just reviewing charts of the poppers and droppers for the set trading day, because that layout has the historical chart, which holds the day, week, and month. So just before I get into the talking about how to set profit targets and how to find targets, let me just real quick explain a couple things. So Clear Lines is my indicator that I developed. It was developed out of a need for a replacement of the Wise Trade algorithm, and was developed over a year ago. We've been marketing it for right at a year now. We partnered with Medved Trader to basically host our indicator for a lot of reasons. One was we really like the guys. They're good to work with. Their platform is very robust. Modular, allows us to do a lot of different things with it, allows us to create a lot of different layouts. And you can trade directly from the charts. And they offer a lot of different indicators. And so in the past year, we've learned a lot using the platform. Obviously, for those that were comfortable with the simplicity of WiseTrade, there is a little bit of a learning curve. That's why I do these sessions, to help people get through that process. I do one-on-one coaching for my subscribers. If they need help, I'll remote in and help explain some things. It's not a real difficult platform. It's no different than most other standalone trading applications. It's just there's so many different things that you can do that it can be overwhelming. But the great thing is I've got some of my customers that I've created just a very simplistic 2 charts with red and green lines, and that's it. That's all they want. And then I have some others that have very complex, or they've made it more complex on their own. It's up to you. You can keep it simple, or you can make it as fancy and cover as many screens and monitors that you have with charts. It's up to you. The other great thing too is that the platform integrates it with a lot of different brokers. E-Trade, TD Ameritrade, Ally Invest, Interactive Brokers. You can access Fidelity, but not the data. You can make trades through the platform. You just have to get data through another source. Tradier, they're testing with Webull, and a couple others. Robinhood, I think, is another one. So it's a platform that you can actually trade multiple accounts out of too. So one of the really cool things that I love about using this platform is that each chart will allow me to select if I want to use extended hours data for the current day only, in other words, just this morning's pre-market, if I want to use the after hours in the current day, if I want to use all data, which means all pre-post market and regular session, or if I set to never, if I only want to use regular session. So one of the things that I have discovered through doing this is that if I set one time frame, like I have this 1 minute set to the current day, so it's going to pull backwards when looking at certain indicators and only use basically intraday data. It'll take into account this morning, but it's not going to factor too much because of the way that most of those average data. Okay. The 3 minute interval I have set to always, which means it's going to use all regular session and pre and post market data. So when making calculations for certain technical indicators, it takes into consideration that pre and post market data. So it actually can cause pivot points. I haven't looked at some of the other technicals, but for pivots that use daily data, it does cause it to shift a little bit. So what has happened is on certain stocks, you'll notice that it may hit a level on one of the charts, but not the other. And an example would be right here on the Qs. On the 3 minute, you can see that it went right up to Fibonacci support 1, FS1, okay, and it reversed. On the 1 minute, it didn't get to Fibonacci. It hit S1, but it didn't quite get up to Fibonacci support 1. Hold on, let me go further back. Actually, it did get there on that peak. Hold on, let me see what the price difference is. 190.43. Hold on, that may have been earlier in the day. $190.48. Actually, in that instance, they were pretty close to each other. Sometimes they'll be a big difference. Sometimes they're close. It depends on the stock. I forgot that I had to go back further to see that. So, but what'll happen is in certain instances on one chart, you may see these levels that you may not have seen on another chart, which can help in determining where to take profits and looking for potential turning points. So before I get into this, and let me tell you what technical indicators I'm using so that you know. On my 1 minute chart, obviously you can see these. Let me blow it up so you see a full screen. These are the volume bars that I overlay on the chart. I've got pivot point, PP, for the daily. So that's going to be the S1, S2, R1, or pivot point. I have parabolic stop and reverse. That's these blue dots. We do utilize those along with the clear lines to help us look for strong. It's a confirmation of the reversal of the clear lines. DMP is a DMARC pivot. So there's 3 levels: DML, DMC, and DMH. DM high, DMC is the center, and DML is the low. And that uses daily data. And then the Fibonacci pivot, which also uses daily pivot, daily data. So there's FS1, FS2, Fibonacci support 1, Fibonacci support 2, and so forth. So, and then on the 1 minute, I also utilize RSI, and usually that's in a secondary chart, but I just overlay it. That's the other great thing about Medved is I can just put everything on one chart. So I have a line down here at the bottom with a number attached to it. So if it goes above 70, I'll know it's overbought. If it goes below 30, it's oversold. So we do look at for overbought, oversold as well. That's another confirmation for us. That's on my 1 minute. On my 3 minute interval, I have the same pivots: pivot point, DMARC pivot, and Fibonacci pivot. I have volume, and obviously both of them have clear lines. They all have my red and green clear lines. And then on the 3 minute, I have additionally, I use Bollinger Bands, and I use volume weighted average price, or VWAP. VWAP is one of the tools that I look at for potential profit targets. And so that's what I was, when you got my email today, I said I was going to focus on how to find profit targets. So we use basically a combination of different indicators to find that. We measure the Fibonacci extension of the first 15-minute time frame. We look at where the volume weighted average price is, and then we look at all the different pivots, and we utilize those to help us. So I want to show you an example. I sent you guys a screenshot of Target. This was an actual alert that I gave out today live in the webinar. Okay. It was for a short. So you can see Target had just come off of a very big run up. Actually, let me go to the 1 minute for a second. Target had just finished a very big move up on the 1 and 3 minute. Okay. It also went way overbought. And that's what this is right here. When this goes into the green, it's overbought. So that RSI was starting to come back down. Now my clear lines technically had not crossed yet, but you can see where they consolidated right here. Okay, they consolidated. The lines kind of flattened out. So there are instances where I may look at something and say, you know what, this went way, had a very big run. It was way overbought. RSI is coming down, so it got way overbought, went way overextended, and it's due for a pullback. And sure enough, RSI starts to drop. The lines flatten out, basically. And I had looked at the first 15-minute Fibonacci level. So let me go to the first 15 minutes. So this is the first 15. We had just gone up above the first 15-minute high. Actually, it was right here. Right. Hold on. I'm looking at the wrong chart. We had, sorry, I was looking at the wrong chart. All right, here's the first 15-minute Fibs. So we had just gone up through the 14140, which is the institutional Fibonacci level. You can see where it shot up through it and came back down. Okay, so as it came back down through that level, that's where we looked. This was the 14140 right here, kind of shot up through it, came back down, and this was where we took the trade short. So I had to figure out, well, where is this thing going? How am I going to figure out where to take profit? So a lot of times I'll look at different fib levels. And let me go back to the first 15 real quick. So the way we draw that, just so you guys can see, we use a Fibonacci extension. We go to the first 15-minute time frame. If price is moving up, we start at the top and go to the bottom of the candle. So we draw that top to the bottom of the first 15 minutes. And then these are the extension ranges. So 14140, we had come up through and then back down. We actually got, after the entry, it actually went up and touched the 1618 and then reversed. So we had measured that Fibonacci extension, and I start looking at the charts to figure out, well, where are my potential profit targets? All right. Potentially, I could look at this 100 level, but I saw underneath that the 786 because it was tied together or had confluence with the DML, the DMARC low. And when I get two or more indicators on top of each other, I look at that as a magnet. The other magnet that I had below that was the VWAP, volume weighted average price. Okay. So that was an additional magnet that I was hoping it would pull at minimum to this line, potentially to the next line down. But knowing that this was the 786 and the DML, I set a limit to take profit at 107.75. I could have said a little bit lower, but I wanted to make sure it got hit. So I'm a quarters theory person. 107.75. It's on a quarter. Figured, all right, that's a good target. I actually, when this happened, I was actually not at my desk. I had stepped away. I'd already set the limit. It came down and hit it and took my target. That was, hold on. You can see target, sell, 108.30, and then limit. There was a limit order at 107.75 that targeted. I didn't use anything else but just what I saw right here. Didn't see anything actually. Additionally, the 1 minute, you can see right here, there was Fibonacci support. Hold on. There you go. So additionally, on the 1 minute, you had a Fibonacci support 3 at 107.80. And then here's that 786. So this became the magnet right here, and that's where the price went to before bouncing. And actually, you can see it at one point became oversold. It first down fast and then came down and touched it. Now, are you always going to find these levels? No, not always, but you're going to find something to help you figure out where to take a target. So let's look at the Qs. We traded the Qs earlier today. I gave an alert on it, traded it live, traded options on it. That was, hold on, I have to go look at my time of trade. That's in my other. Okay, it was 11:56. Okay. And then I'm going to show you this, and then we'll see if we can find some live examples before the market's over. So this morning, we are looking at, oh, it was right here. It was right here. The Qs had just had a big out of nowhere move up, okay? Kind of came from nowhere. It went right to the 236 of the first 15 and Fibonacci support 2, right? Went right up and reversed. Let me go back to the 1 minute over here. That was right. That was this peak back here. Back further. That was right here. So we had this big out of nowhere move, comes right up to the 236, and there's also Fibonacci support 2. So we had 2 indicators on both charts, along with my clear lines gave a down arrow, and that was actually right when we entered. It was right here, right after that arrow came in. Bought puts. So there were a couple of potential targets. So let's just say you were trying to pick up 10 or 15 cents. That's what we typically try to do, try to grab a dime or more on the Qs. So you need a 20-cent move in the stock. Target would have been right in here. DML and the 50% fib. There's your confluence. It actually ended up going all the way down to the 618. I could have gotten more out of it, but I try to be very disciplined and get 10 cents. I got 11 on this trade. But I saw the 50% fib in the DML, so I knew we had room to come back down. There was room to come back down. And then let me go back over to the 3-minute. We also hit VWAP right here. It actually touched the VWAP. I was already out at that point, but it came down and hit VWAP. So volume weighted average price, 618, and a pivot. So they all became the magnet. Price came right to it and then shot up. Actually had an opportunity, well, I missed it, but there was an opportunity to go long, ride it back up by calls. And then I wasn't around, but there was another opportunity to go short. So what I would like, I want one of you guys to pick a stock that you're watching right now that you would like me, that could be ready for a long or a short, potentially end of the day, that you would like me to find a potential target where you would take profit if you were to enter that trade. This is audience participation. So send me a stock that one of you might be watching right now that could be close to a potential entry, and you're trying to figure out where you would take profit. How about Dish? Thank you. Thank you, Frank. And then we'll look at Amazon. So Dish and Amazon and then AXP. Okay. We'll start with Dish. Oh, a little extension there. All right, so first thing is going to take the first 15-minute Fibonacci level. We're going to draw that. Look at there. Go back to my 3-minute. So let's look at the 3. All right, so we're right at the 200 fib. Lines are pinching. Now, if there was enough time in the day, I would have a couple of targets on this. I think this would be the ideal target, 36.75. It's the 100% fib and the VWAP. You also have a confluence below it of Fibonacci resistance 1, R1, and the 786. So that's all going to be a magnet to help drag this down. It might stall out at one of these other fib levels. It might even stall here because that's the center of the Bollinger and the 1618. Let's actually test this because I kind of like this. Okay, let's put the test into action. Hold on, let me look at the 1 minute real quick. Oh, it's starting to drop. Oh yeah, there's a 1 minute down arrow. All right, so here, let's go short. Dish. We were just overbought also. Look at that. It just came out of being overbought and is losing that momentum right now. The RSI is losing the momentum. And parabolic stop and reverse has already shifted. The PSARs have shifted. We got the down arrow on the 1 minute. All right, so the 1 minute does not have, there are not really any levels, so to speak, until you get down to 36.84. You've got Fibonacci resistance 2. All right, remember that, 36.84, right? So what did I say over here? 36.75. So Fibonacci resistance 2 on the 1 minute was basically right in this level. It's not too far away. So I'm going to set a limit right at 75. We'll see if it can get there. So that's a potential just about 45 cents. My risk on this would not be much more than 10 or 15 cents. So if it goes back up, breaks the high of the day, gets up to 37.30, I would look to bail out. That would be my target down here. There is a chance it could come right down to this level and bounce. But what you would do is, as it approaches different levels, you start moving your stop. You start trailing your stop. So as it hits this, if it hits this first level, which is a confluence of the center line of the Bollinger and the 1618, stop goes to break even. If it gets to the next fib level, move your stop into profit. Next fib level, further into profit. Next line, further. So you just, what you do is you, as it hits each of these, you start moving your stop a level up, a level up, a level up, a level up. And you just manually trail it using these different pivot points. Okay, so wheels are in motion for Dish. Let's see what happens, right? Wheels are in motion. All right, so the next one was a request on Amazon. Amazon, let's go first to the 15-minute. Let's draw our fib levels. Price is currently tracing down off of the first 15-minute high. You can actually see, this is interesting. Let me go back to the 3-minute. Earlier today, Amazon basically double topped at the first 15-minute high and Fibonacci support 1, FS1. So Pippin, if you were looking to get short, right here, or secondarily right here when it failed to breach and rolled over, that was your entry. Either one of those. And then if you're looking for profit targets, wow, this was your target right here. If you took that trade off of this level, you had a down arrow, your target was right here. This was clear as day. It's the 50% fib, it's Fibonacci support 2, and it is, looks like support S1 of the daily. You had a confluence of all three of those levels. And you had VWAP underneath it, so it's the magnet that's going to help draw it down. It did go lower. It went through this the 618, almost got to VWAP before bouncing. But your target would have been here if you were looking to set a stop, a limit. And let me look a little further. It just bounced. Didn't really hit anything on the 3-minute. Let me look at the 1-minute. See if there was any indicator down there. No, it didn't really bounce. I don't see anything that helped it for that bounce. But those levels on that 3-minute were magical. And you can see it even on the 1-minute right here. So you had a down arrow, 2 down arrows. The first down arrow occurred after that initial top and a break and reverse. You had a secondary down arrow on that second top right here, right around 1823. So 1823 to 1817, 6-point move. That's not a bad trade. Not bad at all. That was a very nice move. We did short it. Fib pivots are, so the fib, they're different colors depending on which level it's at. Hold on. So these are the different colorations for pivot: resistance 1, resistance 2, resistance 3, support 1, support 2, support 3. I can change the colors if I want. Yeah, the yellow lines are just the first 15-minute Fibonacci levels. Like here's FS2 right up here, right where I'm circling. All right. And look where it just went up to. It just hit the DML, the DMARC lower line, and now it's reversed off the DML. Or it is reversing off the DML. By the way, our dish is already up a nickel, and we were actually up a dime for about a minute. It dipped down, and then it bounced back a little bit. But we've got a little bit of wiggle room right now. All right, the next one was for William. Wanted to look at AXP. All right, so again, the first step for me is to go to the first 15-minute. I apologize. Hold on a second. Sorry. Sorry, I had to close the door. Dog's barking for some reason. The joys of working from home. Okay, so first 15-minute, that's easy. We start at the bottom, go to the top because the movement is to the downside. Let's go back to our 3-minute. All right, so first of all, let's look back and see if we had shorted AXP earlier in the day, where would we have set a profit target? If you had shorted this morning, let's say out of the gate, you had a down arrow on the 3-minute. That's really clear, by the way. I mean, how beautiful was that entry right in here, right after the open? You had a 3-minute down arrow. You had the clear lines pointing down. Boy, you had momentum. When you broke, this was beautiful. You broke the first 15-minute, which was also the DMARC L, the DML. Once you drew out that first 15-minute, your target was probably in the neighborhood of right down here, because you had support 3 and the 2618. So what would happen is, so you'll notice, look where it paused. It paused right here. That's Fibonacci support 2. So that was your first target. When it hit there, you'd move your stop probably up above here. As it continues down, it stalls out at the 200. You move your stop up to the next level. As it moves down, you move your stop up to the next level. And then as it comes down and hits this 300, you'd move your stop right through here. And then as it comes back up through the 3, you get taken out. That was a move of approximately $2 and a little over $2. And you got short out of the gate and just ridden it down, followed the charts, followed the pivots, follow the fib levels, adjusted your stops up as it moved down, and then when it bounced, you would have gotten taken out. See how easy? This is very simple when you can see it very clearly, these levels. This is your roadmap. This is just a roadmap to help guide you, to give you potential spots to take profit. So, whoops. Let's say you were in AXP short. Our first target's, it's approaching it. 2618 and Fibonacci and S3. You got a confluence of these two. The next level, look at that, right down at the 300. Now there's not anything else down there. Let me look at my other 1 minute. That's 116.50. Oh, here you go. This makes it even clearer. This would be your target. On the 1 minute, there's S4. S4 and the 300 is your confluence. That would be our target. You got confluence. Again, this is the advantage of being able to use the Medved platform and set different time frames on different charts, where you can either use just regular session or regular session and extended hours, because sometimes you see things on one chart you may not see on the other chart. So that's pretty crystal clear. That would be my target. And in all actuality, if you were short earlier in the day, that's where it went to. Hold on, let me go back. Hold on. Let me back up. It went right here. See that? Had you shorted the prior move up, actually, let me go to a 3 on this chart. So had you shorted any one of these little tops right in here, it's come down to that level multiple times. 1, 2. How many times has it come down there? It got close earlier. 1, 2. And then if we had time, this would be our target again. So twice it came down, and one time it went through it, the first time it didn't quite get there. There are going to be instances, remember, these are not always going to be exact. Sometimes they get really close and then they miss it. So you can't be afraid to adjust if you see that it starts to turn. So our trade on Dish, obviously there's only 15 minutes left in the trading day, so there's not enough time for it to really work its way to get to our target. You can see that VWAP has actually moved up a little bit. So, you can move it up to VWAP, or you could move it up to, the center. Actually, that's the center Bollinger Band with not a lot of time left. You're not going to get a huge move. So we could look at that, see if it comes back down and test that level. Getting a little end of day bounce I'm seeing on my other screen on the market. So that may hinder this from getting down there. But this is what will help you to find potential targets to take profit. Let me have a stock or two that one of you might have traded earlier in the day. If you want to, one of y'all wants to give me a stock that you already traded today, and maybe you got a small profit and you were looking for a bigger profit, let's see if we could have found a little bit more. Apple. All right, let's look at Apple. Go to our first 15-minute. Measure our fib levels. That's interesting. It went right up to the 14140. That was when the market took that big run this morning. Well, there was the first one and then a second one. All right, so potential profit targets. Well, this was from down here, from one of these, either from down here or right in here, one of these moves long. Your target was the 100 and the DMC, the DMARC center line. That was your target. It ultimately broke it, and then it came back through it and came to VWAP, tested it again, came back through it, went to the 50% fib. I mean, this is such a clean map. Look at this. So that's your first 15-minute low. We come up, we hit this 618 multiple times. We come back down to the 382. We finally breach it. We almost get to the first 15-minute high, or the 100, back down to the 618. Test it again. Don't quite get there. This time on the drop, we don't go as low. We finally hit it right there. Come back down right to the 618. Literally touch it, and that was VWAP. So you had confluence right there, and then the market ripped all the way to the 14140, right back down to that same 618, back up to the 100, down to the 50. We went right back up to the 100, and the DMC jogged around it, and now we're on the breakout. But it just followed almost exactly those fibs and those pivot points, just like clockwork. It followed all of those. And let me look on the 1 minute as well. That was the 3. I'm just checking to see if there was any other oh, look at this. You had the DMARC high. You had the Fibonacci support 1. Look with that. Look way down here on the 1 minute. Was right at the morning low. Fibonacci support 1. You don't have it on the 3 minute. I didn't see it on the 3 minute. It was up higher. It was actually up a little bit higher. So this is the value of being able to use the Medved and see those different time frames, because you would not have seen it had you not. This is just basically a regular session. So it came down to the regular session, so Fibonacci support. And then you had DMARC center line on the 50, DMC on the 50. Over here you have DMC on the 100. See how they're the variance between the two charts? DMC on the 50% fib on one, DMC on the 100 on the other. And what else? You had Fibonacci pivot at the 786 over here. And oh, you had, that's interesting. Fibonacci pivot lined up with the 786 on this chart as well. Those will be your guide. and the VWAP ran right through the lower side of the chart all day long. So it was the magnet that dragged it down every time. It bounced back and it came back down to the VWAP. Bounced up, came down through the VWAP. VWAP is a magnet. All right, so there's not a lot of time left. I'm going to go ahead and close out Dish. It didn't turn out to be a huge win, but it was still a successful trade, right? We're up 4 or 5 cents. So I'm going to hit the flatten button. All right, out 37.15. So 4.5 pennies. Yeah, not huge. We just didn't have time. I have time to review maybe one more stock if one of you guys, one, maybe two more, if you have something you'd like me to look at. Again, taking your suggestions. Something you traded today. Let me look back at some of our trades this morning and see. Oh, I'll show you one, Macy's. Oh, PayPal. Okay, we'll look at PayPal. Oh. I'm like, what the heck? All right, so let's go to PayPal, 15-minute. That was a big first 15-minute. Oops. Go back to the 3. All right, so this morning when it bottomed out, it dropped, bounced, that put in the first 15-minute low, okay, the 100%. Bounced up, it came down, retested it, and bounced again. You got an up arrow right here. When that up arrow occurred and you were looking for a potential profit target, you had a confluence of the 236 and Fibonacci support 1 right here. Whoops, wrong. Right here. You had a confluence of the 2. That was your magnet. That's what dragged it all the way up to this level. Came down, hit the 618 right here at the bottom of the Bollinger Band, and look what was dragging it down. Volume weighted average price was the magnet that pulled it. It actually came back down to it one more time right here. Actually, another time right here and broke it. So you had a great long opportunity this morning after it failed to hit that 100%, that first 15-minute low. When it turned back up and you got an up arrow, that was your long entry. When it cleared through VWAP, that was a positive sign, positive momentum. And then it just kept going. And it went all the way to that 236. That was really the target that you had. That was the confluence way up there, and that's where it went. Let me look at the 1 minute just to see if there's something else I could have seen. But that's actually beautiful. And you could have bought calls if you trade options. You could have bought 102 calls, I guess, this morning. On the 1 minute, by the way, it was way oversold this morning too. RSI was way down there. Way down there. Yeah, so you actually had it on both charts. On the you had that Fibonacci support 1 right here. So you had confluence of it on both charts. So that was your big magnet. That's why it went right up to that level. Actually, was that just support 1? Maybe it wasn't Fibonacci. Hold on. It's the 236. That was the 236. Yeah, Fibonacci support 1. Right there, double topped. That was your target. So if you were watching, so like this morning, all right, you were watching, let's say the 1 and the 3 minute. You got an up arrow on the 1 and the 3 minute right through here. You were looking for a target. You could have set initial target right here at the 618 and S1. When it got there, you move your stop back below the prior fib level, basically to break even or a little bit above break even. It got to the 50% fib, kind of stalled out. Then you move your fib up to the next level, and you trail your stops below prior fibs. Trail it below prior fibs, but this was your target right up there. Trail it. So had you left your stop here when it got there, well, when it got there and failed, that you probably should have taken the exit, or you would have been stopped right in here. So somewhere between 103.50 and 104, you would have taken profit from right around 102 or below 102. So $1.50, $2 move just by following those levels. All this is this is your roadmap. This is your guide. This is what's going to help you to figure out, once you get into a trade, where it might go. This is what we do every day in our webinar. We're looking for potential targets to figure out where our trades are going and where we can maximize our profit. And today the perfect one was TGT. It just worked like a charm. It got that overextended run, saw a little weakness, jumped in, looked at the charts, saw the confluence, saw the fib, saw the Fibonacci support, and then boom. DML right here, Fibonacci support over here, and then of course our first 15-minute fib levels. $786 of the first 15. That's it. That's what we do. If you want to learn more about it, I encourage you to, if you're not currently, wow, market just ripped into the close. If you're not a subscriber and you want to check us out, we do offer a free 1-week trial of our alerts. Just go to equity-alerts.com and you'll see right here, click for a free 1 week of service. Just click that, go down, tell us how you found us, click sign up, enter your name, your email. Make sure you check and read the terms and conditions and the disclaimer, and then which are down here, terms, condition, disclaimer. And that's it. No credit card required. You can follow us for a week. You can see us utilizing all of these great tools and indicators, the clear lines, the pivot points, the Fibonacci levels, everything we do. You can watch us for a week and learn and see how we do it. If you're interested in signing up for the clear lines by themselves, or $59 a month, plus potentially an additional 20 for the Medved platform if you do not have an account with Ally Invest. And if you don't have one of the integrated brokers, you may have to subscribe to a data provider. You can try the alerts, they're $99 a month. Or if you do a combination of the alerts and the clear lines together, it's $129 a month. If you're interested in a 1-year commitment, 13 months for the price of 12. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today, and thank you for your questions. If you need to reach me, Kipp@equity-alerts.com. You can also text or call me, 972-841-8886. Have a fantastic evening. I'll see some of you guys tomorrow in the webinar, and I'll be back on Thursday for another session of Clear Lines training. Have a good night. Bye-bye.